In this video, we're going to discuss why you don't need to start cutting as soon as you start lifting weights and what you should do instead. First of all, my name is Himanshu. I help people transform their lives through fitness. You're clearly interested in that, so scroll down below, hit the subscribe and the post notification bell, and you'll never miss any of my uploads again. First, you need to distinguish why you start lifting weights. It's obvious that it's to look aesthetic and to gain muscle. The problem with cutting as soon as you start lifting weights is that there's no muscle to reveal underneath that fat. If you start cutting too soon, you'll end up looking skinny with abs, because everyone has abs regardless if you've been training or not. This is why you should be getting into a gaining phase as soon as you start lifting weights, because it doesn't matter if you're skinny or skinny fat. You need to start bulking first to gain muscle, and after about 2 years you can start to cut to reveal all that muscle. You should only first start cutting if you're overweight. You can do what we call a body recomposition in the fitness industry to gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. I'm going to give you guys a step-by-step method on how to bulk properly and how to gain muscle as efficiently as possible to gain the maximum aesthetics. First of all, you guys need to implement what we call a lean bulk in the fitness industry as opposed to a dirty bulk that most people go for. In both types of bulks, you're eating at a caloric surplus. However, with a lean bulk, you're tracking your calories just as you would in a cut. Whereas in a dirty bulk, you'll be eating as much food as you can no matter the amount of calories. This will lead to some muscle gain, but it will lead to a lot of fat gain as well. In a lean bulk, you'll be focusing on eating high quality whole foods and tracking them on an app like MyFitnessPal. To implement a lean bulk, you need to first find out your maintenance calories. You do this by going on any TDE calculator online and filling out your details as accurately as possible. The whole purpose of a lean bulk is to gain weight slowly but steadily. Now, after you find out your maintenance calories, now it's time to add 300 calories on top of your maintenance calories as surplus calories. Some people say less surplus calories work for them. Some people say more surplus calories work for them. I'm going to leave that up to you guys to do trial and error and see what works best for you guys. But I'm going to give you guys 300 as an average figure that's worked best for me, and that's worked best for some other people I've known as well. Once you add the 300 calories on top of your maintenance calories, now it's time to find out what macronutrient split that you're going to follow. From my experience, the best macronutrient split that I've seen work is 40% carbs, 40% protein, and 20% fat. This is based on the fact that you need a decent amount of carbohydrates to fuel you through your workouts and through your day as well. You also need a good amount of protein to aid you in your recovery process after your workouts, which that 40% will give you as well. Fat is the least important in terms of gaining muscle, so we're going to give it the least amount out of the macronutrient ratio. You can easily adjust the macronutrient goals under the goals tab of MyFitnessPal. Now what you need to be doing is you need to be tracking everything that you eat on MyFitnessPal. Remember guys, always stick to the 80-20 rule, where you eat 80% of unprocessed whole foods and 20% of bad foods. It's also important that you guys recalculate your maintenance calories. As soon as you do that, make sure you add in the surplus calories on top of that. The whole purpose of tracking your food is so that you guys don't get fat. It's possible to get fat through doing a clean bulk as well. It's all about calories in versus calories out, guys. That doesn't mean that since it's calories in versus calories out that you guys can go and have all the junk food there is, as long as you hit your macronutrient goals. The quality of food matters so much because it decides the quality of muscle tissue you put on, your mood, your mental health, and your skin. For example, for carbs, you'd want to be having foods like oats, vegetables, legumes, and rice. For protein, you'd want to be having chicken, eggs, beef, and turkey. And for fats, you can have things like avocados and nuts, like cashews and almonds. In terms of supplements, I recommend you guys have caffeine, whey protein, and creatine. These are the most essential and the most researched supplements in the market. When it comes to caffeine, make sure you guys don't overdo it and stick to less than, say, 200 mg of caffeine a day. When it comes to whey protein, the best type of whey protein is whey protein isolate. This type of protein gives you the best bang for your buck. It pretty much gives you a lot more protein per scoop compared to any other protein type. Again, when it comes to servings, don't overdo it, guys. Whey protein shouldn't substitute to your whole diet. It's only a supplement, so treat it as such. And lastly, creatine is designed to give you the most amount of strength in the gym. This is a heavily researched supplement, so it's 100% safe to take. So that's everything to do in nutrition, and as always, there's one more part that ties into all of this, and that is the training side of things. In terms of training, you guys should be aiming to put on muscle, and you can't do that if you start cutting straight away. So when you guys start lean bulking, you guys should start lifting heavy. Now, I'm not telling you guys to go and injure yourselves. Of course, work up to it. This is your chance to put on as much muscle as possible, and you guys should be able to do this with ease as long as you follow a systematic approach. First of all, make sure that you guys progressively overload on each lift. Make sure that you guys continually challenge the muscles to grow. You can do this by increasing the reps that you do, increasing the sets that you do, increasing the weight that you lift, or increasing the time under tension that you put yourself under, or even taking less rest time in between your sets as well. When I say increasing time under tension, it means controlling and slowing down on the eccentric part of the movement. For example, if you're doing a bicep curl, the eccentric part of the movement would be letting the weight down, and the concentric part of the movement would be bringing the weight up, and you should be slowing down on the eccentric part of the movement. I don't care what body type you are, you could be ectomorph, mesomorph, or endomorph. If you put in the work, you can build a muscle that you want. If you incorporate progressive overload, and if you then go and eat at a caloric surplus or a slight deficit depending on the situation that you're in, if you then go and supplement yourself adequately and get enough rest and recovery, you will literally be unstoppable. You will gain muscle at such an exponential rate, not only because it's your first years in the gym, but because you have the knowledge to go with it as well. Also, in terms of training, I recommend you guys start off with compound exercises. These are bench press, squats, and deadlifts. These will activate multiple muscle groups while you do them. This will give you a foundational strength to then go and do isolated movements as well. After about 3 to 6 months of doing this, you can then move on to a combination of isolated and compound movements. Another tip I can give you guys is to focus on high volume and low weight for smaller muscle groups, and focus on higher weight and low volume for bigger muscle groups. When I say high volume, it literally means doing more sets and more reps. A shorter rest time would also help with smaller muscle groups because they recover pretty quickly. In my experience, this is what has worked best for me and what I've seen work best for other people as well. Because think about it, you can only work your way up so far in terms of weight for smaller muscle groups. Because the muscle group is small, it cannot endure a large amount of weight. Therefore, the only way that it can grow is by doing more sets and more reps and shortening the rest time that you take in between your sets as well. And the opposite goes for bigger muscle groups as well. They can endure more weight, so you can progressively overload in that aspect to get you more muscle. Another big tip I can give you guys is to develop good form, especially on big compound movements, where if you don't lift correctly, it will give you long-term career-ending injuries. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't have good form in other isolated exercises as well. You definitely should have good form in all exercises that you do, but the riskiest is the big compound movements. If you didn't bulk and you cut straight away, your time in the gym will be wasted. You'll literally be doing exercises for the sake of doing them, and you literally quit after a month or two because you didn't see any results. This is very common to see, and they come up with excuses like, oh bro, I just don't have the genetics to build muscle, or only steroids can build muscle, without actually educating themselves on how things actually work. So there you have it, guys. Follow this to a T and you'll see results. Don't even think about cutting as soon as you go into the gym, because you'll regret it. Anyway, that's it for the video, guys. I hope you guys found it informative. If you did, make sure to drop me a like down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.